Hello, today I'm going to be explaining Ruby, the popular programming language being used frequently. I, Ahmed Sami, along with my colleagues Kareem Magdy, Mostafa Elsharkawy, and Habeeba Sakr, will give you a quick introduction and brief of what Ruby is all about. Ruby is a popular language that was created with balance in mind. It was developed by Yakuhiro Matsumoto in 1995 and has gathered a plethora of devout coders worldwide. Mats was influenced by a variety of languages including Perl, Smalltalk, Eiffel, Ada, and Lisp. He blended these languages together to form Ruby. With balanced functional programming and imperative programming in mind, his main goal was to create a natural, not a simple, language. He succeeded, and Ruby gained exposure in 2006, almost 11 years after its launch. It is now, according to many popular measuring indices worldwide, considered one of the top 10 most popular languages. Another factor to its success is that it's completely free to use, copy, modify, and distribute. Its most stable version is 2.7.0, which was released recently in December of 2019.
Ruby is viewed as being a multi-paradigm programming language since it uses many paradigms within its syntax and semantics, with the first of these paradigms being that it's object-oriented, since everything is an object basically, and every bit of code can be given its own properties and actions, as it was mentioned. And the second paradigm is that it is imperative, since it has sequential execution of instructions, meaning that every line of code is executed once before it moves to the next, as well as containing loops such as the while loops and for loops, and the last of these being functional, which seems a bit contradictory, but its functional aspect is viewed since it can calculate higher order mathematical functions, and you can actually calculate any mathematical function you want on Ruby, which makes it also Turing complete.
Now on to the advantages of using Ruby. Firstly, Ruby is a dynamic programming language, which allows for more runtime operations and freedom when creating data structures or objects. It also resembles natural languages, making it easier to read. As you will see in the following example, Ruby's code is short, simple, yet very powerful, as it can help programmers create web applications very easily. The language is also open source, making it free for programmers to copy, use, or even edit the code based on their preferences. Finally, Ruby allows programmers to load libraries dynamically, also known as gems. Ruby Gems is essentially a tool that helps programmers install and manage these libraries. In this example, I use both Ruby and C++ to perform a simple operation of inputting a name and outputting it back to the user with a greeting. As you can obviously see, Ruby's code on the top is shorter and easier on the eyes than C++ on the bottom, despite performing the same function. Ruby does not use semicolons, and there is no variable declaration either. In the top left corner, on the second line, you can see I created the variable called name, and I input a value straight away without declaring its type. While in C++, I had to declare a string variable and use it to input the name. Also, when outputting, Ruby allows the use of a hashtag and brackets to embed the variable within the string, while C++ requires a longer format.
Moving on to the disadvantages of using Ruby. First of all, the runtime speed is slow. However, the developers don't have to worry about it that much if they don't have a huge successful application. It is slower than other languages as it's an interpreted scripting language, and the scripting languages are slower than the compiled languages. Moreover, the boot speed can have troubles depending on gems and files. Another issue with Ruby is that the code is harder to debug, as most of the time it generates the errors at runtime. Another thing is that the documentation as well as community and support on Ruby are limited. The great gems and libraries are difficult to find. Something that might not seem like a big deal is that it also has its own coding language, which forces programmers to learn it before they can start using it. Mostly, programmers don't invest that much time in learning new programming languages. Some other issues of Ruby are their issues with multi-threading and their graphical user interface, which we will not go into detail about right now. Basically, the biggest disadvantage of Ruby programming language is its competition. The marketplace offers much better options, so why settle with Ruby?
Finally, our plans for our final presentation involve the following. familiarizing ourselves with Ruby and Ruby gems, developing programs to exhibit the main features, discovering flaws in the language and their countermeasures, finding Ruby's most beneficial applications and where it dominates in the market, and, as per requirements, demonstrating competence in using the language.